Hey friends, I hope everybody had a great first day at the virtual Bridge conference. I know we all missed meeting in person, but I think the planners did an incredible job and deserve a lot of credit for the amazing and comprehensive program, all those wonderful tracks, so many wonderful speakers, and creating an experience that may not be quite the same as meeting in person, but at least comes close. It certainly kept me engaged all day. A lot of interesting things a lot of interesting features on the platform, and really came pretty close to reproducing the energy of Bridge Conference, which I love so much, and I know so many other people do as well. And I just came in from a walk, wanted to just jump on real quick and share some thoughts from the first day. The morning keynote, Dr. Adrian Sargent and Jen Cheng, just a really dynamic session. I've heard them speak before, but this was just great. A lot of practical advice, notably just how important it is to try to get to the bottom of why your donors give, what's important to them, and some really practical advice how to do that. Love the idea of sending just a donor survey out where you're not asking them for anything necessarily. You're just trying to get to understand what's important to them and what motivated them to give, and then recycle that intelligence to help enhance your prospecting and cultivation efforts. Really transformative advice that I think any organization of any type or size or mission can utilize, and so important for right now at this important moment in the nonprofit space. And I did have a chance to get into a few sessions today. I wish I could have seen more. I'll try to catch up on more, but a couple of things that really caught my attention are recurring themes. The first is the continued integration of direct mail with digital channels. And not just on individual campaigns. I mean, yes, there was some talk about co-targeting and things like that, but also things that are a little bit more comprehensive, trying to create a more immersive multi-channel experience for the donor. There was talk about multi-channel welcome series, which I think is a really transformative idea, something that can help a lot of organizations with their retention rates by creating a touchpoint experience with donors on multiple platforms, regardless of how they decide to give. Things like that are really, I see as being the future of fundraising, not necessarily any one channel or another or technology, but continuing to tie all of the channels together, both proven and traditional and new and emerging. And as you know, I've been beating that drum a lot over the last few years, hashtag unsiloed fundraising, just because I think it is so important for the future of our industry and can help a lot of organizations who need help turning their retention rates around. I think there's a lot of low-hanging solutions there, which can transform their relationship with their donors. And I saw a lot of that in the sessions today at Bridge Conference, so that's great. And it just kind of reminded me of how the industry has evolved over the last couple of years, because it used to be that when you went to a session, whether it was at Bridge Conference or other conferences, and you saw a session about multi-channel, it was about having a presence on multiple platforms, having a social program, having a direct mail program, an email program. And now it's more in the direction of tying all of these things together to create a continuous experience on as many platforms as possible for the donor where they are, which increasingly is multiple channels. So it's been really interesting to see the evolution of the industry in that direction. And we're going to have a lot more to say about that at Data Strategy 4. I'm not going to give anything away here. Don't want to steal the thunder of the Bridge Conference. But coming up in a couple weeks, we're going to have some big announcements. And honestly, I think this year's show is going to be our most comprehensive list of speakers ever, and really is going to have something for everybody. So I can't wait. But there will certainly be a lot about creating multi-channel experiences for donors and the benefits of doing so. So plenty on that front to come. And just as an extension of that, where I think the conversation should go from here, it's wonderful that it's becoming a best practice in the industry to talk about creating these multiple touchpoint experiences and not to worry about where the donor converts, where they give, but to focus on the journey and what got them to get there. So, and I've evolved on this as well. I'm consistently learning and getting new information and changing how I believe about some channels. For instance, I've learned a lot over the last few weeks and months about the evolution of display ads and the role that they can play in guiding a donor journey, even if they don't directly produce revenue. So it's a continuously a moving target. And I think that the extension of this conversation, and something that we do try to talk a lot about if you follow my content here or the Dynamic Nonprofits podcast, is experimental fundraising, testing into emerging trends, emerging technologies, maybe before they're at scale, just to get some information, some data, to learn how to use these platforms, and not just use them, but optimize them, because testing is always an ongoing process. There's very few things you can do once and just draw a solid conclusion, right? Usually you're testing multiple times and multiple techniques and refining them to really figure out if something's going to work for you and how best to utilize that platform, but to really push the industry on the importance of experimental testing, or I have called it fundraising X, hashtag fundraising X, and having that mindset of dabbling in these new technologies, whether it's voice, whether it's SMS text or VMS text. There was a session about that today, which I hope to go back and watch, that looked really exciting. And just starting to get your feet wet early on, learning about them so that you can scale it before the rest of the industry does. Because the thing is that now that it's becoming a best practice to focus on the donor experience and integrate make sure this experience is seamless across multiple platforms, now that that's becoming a best practice, if you're just starting out, if you're playing catch up, it's never too late to start, but you probably feel like you're a little bit behind the eight ball. So experimental testing and focusing on emerging trends and technologies, even if it's not proven yet, even if there's no published case studies, is always a solid way to go. Obviously, you want to test responsibly. You don't ever want to be reckless with something that you're not completely sure of, but I think it's a really healthy mindset, especially as the fundraising space continues to evolve and as new channels and techniques and trends come onto the scene seemingly on a daily basis. So yes, I think organizations of all types should be thinking about how they can build a presence on TikTok or do things like live stream fundraisers, and at least start to get their feet wet so that they're ready to scale and to monetize these platforms when they need to, and they're not constantly playing catch up. But regardless, seeing the direction, the industry move in that direction of a multi-channel touchpoint experience and making it as seamless as possible for donors is certainly very exciting. I think it's going to be transformative for fundraising, and it's going to make for more increased generosity and a stronger industry altogether. So those are my thoughts on day one. I hope everybody had a great first day, and hope you enjoy tomorrow, and hopefully I'll see a bunch of you online. And definitely stay tuned for some news about Data Strategy Forum, because I cannot wait to share more with you about that. Until then, though, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.